on the half sheet of paper. So like you're just going to finish this video. Okay. So here's the link to the video. It is how many minutes? 12 minutes long. Who's teaching it? Who's teaching it? Who is it? I don't know. Whose handwriting is it? Oh, that's me. That's my handwriting. So I'm teaching it to you for 12 minutes. Okay. And then after that, you do not need to submit your notes in Schoology, and then you're done. Don't forget to take attendance if you're online. Okay. I think today would be a great catch-up day. I think before you even watch this video, I need all of you to go onto Edgenuity and finish the quizzes. If there's any quizzes that still need to be done or lessons that need to be watched, please do that first, okay? Because you don't have that much time left. And I know that Edgenuity takes up a lot of time. So maybe once we disperse, Mr. Tucker can help those of us who need to get caught up in Edgenuity. And then I can help you get caught up on Schoology assignments if you're in here, or you can just, if you're all caught up on everything, then you can just do what we're doing today. Okay. And that's it. Okay. All right. So let's do this then. So all of you should have this paper in front of you. If you don't have this paper in front of you, that's because you're online. If you need this paper, it's over there on the blue counter. So go grab one. Go grab your calculator as well, because we need a calculator. And let's do a couple problems, okay? Let's just do a couple problems together, just to truly make sure that we are good. Okay. So, let's write this down. So we said we're basically still doing the same thing as we've been doing for the last 2 weeks, right? We have an inequality. You have x's on both sides. You always have to drop down your smaller x. But remember how last week we said that there was a specific rule, because sometimes you might have a brain fart and you might drop down your bigger x. So if that happens, then you always have to flip your symbol. But right here says when you have x's on both sides, so please, all of you, write this down right now. When you have x's on both sides, always move the, which one, bigger or smaller? Smaller, good job. Always move your smaller x by adding or subtracting. So that's when I say, don't say divide, don't say divide, don't say divide. So always move your smaller x by adding or subtracting. Okay, so finish copying that down, and then we'll practice a couple problems together, and then we'll be good. And you do need your calculator, so go grab your calculator, please, the one that's assigned to you. Okay, I'm going to give you 15 more seconds to copy that down, then we're going to do a problem. Okay.
Miss Grace, I was just in the 7th grade class.
And
they were word problems with fractions, and they had to like add and subtract fractions. And they had to do all that stuff like find the common denominator. And
oh yeah.
Numbers.
Oh gosh.
I was like, oh, so nice to be in 8th grade when you don't have to do that anymore.
I know.
But your calculator will do it for you.
So if I were to say find the common denominator, does that give you some like PTSD right there? Yeah. I feel like it would. It would give me some PTSD too. I love teaching 8th grade because I love the fact that I can just say, oh, just use your calculator. And then I don't get like death glares from everyone.
And kids were dropping like flies in Mr. Gray's class.
Oh, I'm sure they were. All right, let's go to the back side. Back side is harder. Okay, let's start this first one. Okay, so this is the back side. This is the first one on the back side. All right, let's do this one. And it's harder because there's negatives. It's always harder when there's negatives, all right? So first of all, I see a fraction problem, and I don't like fraction problems. So can someone raise their hand if they remember, whenever I see a fraction problem, what should I do? Karina? Yes, ma'am. Turn it into a decimal. Karina, do you remember how to turn 1/4 into a decimal? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to cross this out because fractions are no bueno. And then let's rewrite it, okay? So my new problem, rewritten as a decimal, would be -10. So just be careful when you rewrite it, because if you miss a negative, then your entire problem has changed, which means your entire answer is wrong. Okay, -1/4. So remember what Karina said? If you're changing a fraction to a decimal, you're dividing 1 divided by 4. That's all you're typing in your calculator to change a fraction to a decimal. So I get 0.25. So 0.25x is greater than or equal to. We've never had that symbol before. There's like a line underneath the greater than sign. That just means or equal to. So it just means it could also equal that number, but it can't be any smaller. Okay, so 20 minus 1/2 x. So again, as Karina said, if I'm changing a fraction to a decimal, 1/2, just divide. 1 divided by 2, and then enter. It's 0.5. So 0.5x. Okay, so here's my new problem. It looks a little bit better because there's no fractions in here, but I know it's still hard because there's decimals, but I believe in you. All right, so I have x's on both sides. Don't be tricked. Don't be tricked, because there's decimals and there's negatives. It's like a double whammy. Can someone raise their hand if they think they know which one may be the smaller one, Taylor? You are not tricked. Good, because it's a negative, right? These are negatives, -0.25 and -0.5. The -0.5 is smaller. So I'm going to drop down the -0.5x. And remember, you want to be organized. Put your x's underneath your x's. All right, so you see a -0.5x. So Araceli, how do I move this 0.5? Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Look at the symbol before and do the opposite. Yes, okay, right? Because you see a minus. So opposite of minus is plus. So guys, you always look at the symbol before and do the opposite. So as Araceli said, you add. Well, that cancels it out because -0.5 plus 0.5 is just nothing. Okay, so let's rewrite my problem. I still have a -10 on the left. Okay, when I type this in, I see, and you can't be tricked, right? Because it was a -0.25, because it was a negative, plus 0.5, because you see a plus 0.5 underneath it. So it's 0.25. So I know it equals 0.25x, but if it's a positive 0.25x, Brooke, what symbol goes in between? Yeah, you're going to add. Some of you want to automatically write a minus in between because you see a minus here. But guys, your answer of this thing ended up being a positive number. Positive means plus, right? Negative means minus. That's how you know you put a plus in between. You have your symbol, and then you have your 20. Okay, you have two numbers you need to eventually move. Aaron, do you remember which one I have to do first?
Going farther away from X.
So is it the 10 or the 0.25?
The 10.
Yeah, so you have to do the one that's farther away from the X, and that one would be the 10. So I'm now going to drop the 10 on both sides. Larson, add, subtract, multiply, divide. Because it's a -10, opposite of -10 is +10 or +10. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. So I have positive plus 0.25x. Well, plus 0.25x is just 0.25x. I have my symbol. Hannah, what's 20 plus 10? Okay. Or use your calculator, right? I mean, honestly, you can use your calculator if you just have a brain fart. I get it. Sometimes that happens to me too. Someone's like, I hate it. Because it's like you go into a restaurant with a bunch of people and they're like, hey, Friesenhahn, you're the math teacher. You figure out the tip. And I'm like, because they think I'm the math teacher, I know all the math, and that's not true. And I get nervous, and then I mess up. So have a calculator because you're in 8th grade now. All right, still not done yet. Valeria, what number do I drop down now? Thank you. Drop down the 0.25. We want to keep the x, so just drop down the 0.25. Savannah, add, subtract, multiply, divide. Because it's 0.25 times x, so opposite of times is divide. So you're going to divide both sides by 0.25. And remember, you're just going to drop everything down. So Jema, should I write the answer first or should I write the x first? So in this situation, I write the x first. Not in every situation. You just got to see where your x falls. Your x fell on the left side, so you drop it down on the left side this time. It might not happen next time, so don't always assume that you write x first. Copy down your symbol, and then just type in the problem. 30 divided by 0.25, I get 120. Okay, so what does this answer mean? This answer means that your answer could be 120 or anything bigger than that, because it's greater than or equal to 120. So your answer could be any possible number that's 120 or larger. But that's how we do a problem like that. Okay. That takes a long time. I know. I get it. We're only going to do 2 questions together. Okay. And then you can finish the other 4 by yourself after you get caught up in Ingenuity and after you get caught up in Schoology. Okay. So let's just do the one right next door since we're already on the back side. So let's do this one. So if you are online, please write this problem on a separate sheet of paper. 2/3 S. If you hate S's and like if your S's look like 5s, then let's just write X. It honestly doesn't matter. Minus 2/3 is less than or equal to 1/6 S plus 4/3.
This is a good one.
This is a very juicy one. Yes. All right. Sophia, what do you think is the first thing I need to do to this problem? So I see fractions. So even before I bring down the smaller one, because you're right, what should I do before that? Because I see fractions in my problem. Yeah, changes to a decimal problem. So Sophia, do you remember how to change fractions to decimals? Okay, so let's divide. And like exactly what we did here, just rewrite your problem. Okay, so I have 2 divided by 3. That's my first fraction.
Repeating decimals.
Okay, what does that tell me? What does that tell me, Brooke? That I can't change it, right? Whenever you have a repeating decimal, you can't round it because then you're changing your problem entirely. So if ever you get a repeating decimal in your fraction problem, then put on your bootstraps because we got to do a fraction problem. All right, sorry, kids. So here we go. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so we knew that 2/3 was 0.66. And then 1/6, because I don't know which one is smaller and which one's bigger, is 0.16. All right, so here are my 2 comparisons, okay? J, do I move my bigger or my smaller S? Good, so J, which one is smaller? Because 1/6 is 0.16, right? 16 cents is smaller than 66 cents. So yes, 1/6 S is smaller, so that's the one I'm moving. And remember, stay organized. Put your S's underneath your S's. Okay, online kids, I haven't forgotten about you. Can someone shout out or type, how do I move this 1/6S, guys? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Someone online.
Multiply.
Very close. But so here, what you would want to do is you would want to look at the symbol before, which is an imaginary positive, and do the opposite. So what's opposite of a positive? Anyone else online? What's opposite of a positive? Thank you, Tyler. Negative. That's right. Negative or minus. So you're going to minus 1/6S on both sides. So that cancels out. So I can rewrite my problem. So 2/3 minus 1/6. Heck if I know. So why don't we just type it in our calculator? Alpha y equals enter. Guys, we don't have to find common denominators because we have calculators. So 2/3 minus 1/6 is 1/2. So my new problem is 1/2 S minus 2/3 is less than or equal to plus 4/3, which just means positive 4/3. Okay. Someone else online. What number do I drop down now? The one that's farther away from the S. I'm not giving up on you, online kids. One of you must know, the one that's farther away from the S.
Negative 2/3?
Yes, thank you. I'm going to move the 2/3 because that one is farther away from the S. So I'm going to drop that one down. Okay, online kids, someone other than Tyler. How do I move this 2/3? Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Look at the symbol before and do the opposite. Okay, Daniel, what's opposite of negative 2/3? What's opposite of negative, Daniel? Thank you. Positive. So opposite of negative is positive. So I'm going to add 2/3 to both sides. So left over then, I have 1/2 S. I have my symbol. And then 4/3 plus 2/3. Again, I don't know, but I have a calculator. Alpha Y equals enter. Right, 4/3 plus 2/3. Type it in your calculator. You get 2. Okay, Carlos, what number is still on the same side as S? Carlos, are you there? Is he sleeping? Okay, Oliver, what number's on the same side as S? Oh my.
1/2.
Thank you. Yes, 1/2 is still on the same side as S. Okay, so this is 1/2 times S. So guys, how do you think? Okay, someone in class, how do you think I need to move the 1/2? Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Jay? Yeah, because it's 1/2 times, right? So opposite of times is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 1/2. So I have S, I have my symbol. And then remember, when I type this in my calculator, the top number is written first. The bottom number is written second. So 2 divided by 1/2 gives me 4. So my final answer is S is less than or equal to 4. Okay. That's it for today. So what I need us to do is make sure that we can load our map test, okay? So guys, all of you grab a Chromebook and open it. If you are using a school Chromebook, do not log in. If you are not using a school Chromebook, then please log in, okay? So go grab a Chromebook if you need one. Let's just make sure that the map test